What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, a podcast that talks about comic books, movies, TV shows, and typically a beer of the week. Today's episode, well, we're going to talk about the Marvels and Loki Season 2. Spoiler alerts, of course. We are going to talk spoilers. We will give you a warning when we get there. However, first things first, housekeeping. Housekeeping? Go ahead. Subscribe, like, share with a friend. That's how the podcast grows. Go ahead, Hops Geek News on any social media platform. Find us there. Come hang out with us. Join our Discord. And then, of course, patreon.com/hopsgeeknews is how you can support the show further if you do wish so. And today's beer of the week comes to you from Lauren, courtesy of Mason Ale Works out of San Diego, California. It is a hazy IPA called Weapon X. It is a 7%, of course. And if you happen to be watching this episode on YouTube, you'll see that it says Zombie Wolverine, Weapon X, of course, and really cool cans. Sucks that it's not a peel-off sticker because I would love to keep this sticker, but I got to figure something out. It's from their Immortal series. I would love to see how they got the rights to this, but that's a whole different day.
We might find out soon that they did not. There was a thing one too that I
There was. I got the thing one in the box. Yep, I got that one too. So they
but
must have
that
made
one
a whole
he's not
Marvel
a
series.
zombie.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is a zombie Wolverine. It's pretty rad, honestly. Pretty decent beer, not too bad. It's a good hazy. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's light and hazy, which honestly is one of my favorites when it's very easy drinking and hazy. And I mean, I was gonna buy it no matter what because of this can art,
Well,
but
yeah.
this is a beer I would honestly buy again.
Yeah, and the artwork real quick is by at Billy Daggers. So check out Billy Daggers by going to at Billy Daggers for the artwork. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a cease and desist out there coming soon. Or maybe they have a kind of cool, I don't know, agreement made somehow with Marvel or San Diego Comic-Con or somebody to be able to have these. Anyways, if this is your first time listening to the show, we like to dive into what we've been drinking, and then we go into our segment, what we've messed up on, looked into. We go into what we have been reading or watching. Then we dive into some news, and of course, our main topic. And we do have something in what we've messed up on to look into. Not so much a mess up, because Tim did call us out. Tim listens still, as his spidey senses were tingling. He says that Master of Puppets was in the 90s, Metallica was big in the 90s. Now, yes, I know Master of Puppets came out in 86. Master of Puppets is in Stranger Things. We know this. However, I was going off of, another Metallica was really
It was
big in the
popular.
90s. Yeah, they were
They
big
did
in
the
the
Peter
90s.
Pan song in the 90s.
Yeah.
We're off to
So
Never Never Land.
I was just over here talking about how, the beer was in conjunction with a band that was really popular in the 90s. So, of course, that's why it fit the theme. Tim, you almost had me. I'm proud of you for still listening. Thank you for still listening. If anybody catches anything else that we've messed up on or looked into, as always, let us know. Let's dive into what we've been reading or watching. Of course, my two big reads this past week come to us from one from Marvel, which was Capwolf and the Howling Commandos. I have made it to the Marvel press list, apparently, which is really freaking cool. And so
Get
Marvel,
that dirt off your shoulder.
Marvel's asking, thanks to Ken from the ODPH and the Nerd Initiative team, because we do write reviews for Nerd Initiative, and I am on a Tuesday show that goes live called Turn a Page. And so by way of that, it's kind of cool being able to hey, we get to write reviews for Marvel comics of all people. So Capwolf and the Howling Commandos, Stephanie Phillips, one of the best comic book writers in the game right now, who is actually going to be coming on the show in January. She's writing this. Captain America was bitten by a werewolf. He has turned into a werewolf. And it's really cool because he's kept his humanity. In this issue, we kind of see Captain America get the buy-in from the rest of the Howling Commandos. And now they're about to go take on an army of Nazi werewolves. And it sets the stage for further issues. The artwork's really cool. You get to see a werewolf dressed like Captain America. I don't know, that's pretty cool to me. Still, it's badass, man. So if that's your thing,
That's
check it
funny
out.
too.
Read it, yeah. And
It's
then the
funny.
other,
I haven't read issue two, but I'm looking forward to reading it. I just haven't gotten to the comic book shop. But it's funny because the last Captain America werewolf I saw was funny. Like it was comical. It was like, ha ha ha, you're a werewolf. And now
yeah.
it's what it
So,
seemed to me at the end of issue one was it's more like serious, like
oh, it's
save
definitely more
yourselves
serious.
now. Yeah.
Well, he was like in this issue, basically, Jim Dugan. He was like, Jim, I told Dum Dum, I told you to kill me, and there's a big standoff and things like that. It is
And
more
like we don't
serious.
trade lives, Cap.
Exactly. My other one comes to us from IDW Publishing, Ministry of Compliance. This one's a bit more serious as well. It takes place in a futuristic. There's aliens that are coming to about to invade the Earth. There are 13 different ministries, one of which is the compliance. She's like an alien robot type person. Their prime minister gets recalled. and so now she's trying to figure out what's going on. And her name is Abigail, with a V, not a B. It's a
Ah, it's one of those.
very bloody comic. She's chopping people's heads off with a sword. It's a bunch of a bit of a spy thriller twist, kind of like The Matrix in a way as well. And yeah, it's like John Wick meets Jason Bourne meets Matrix. It's very interesting and futuristic, but it's worth a good read if you're into that kind of thing. I would check it out definitely.
I like that there was two Keanu Reeves in there, John Wick and The Matrix.
Yeah, well, it's like it's
Very Keanu
futuristic, kind of
Reevesy.
like yeah. I don't really know how to explain the Matrix vibes I get from it. I just kind of do.
Did you
If
ever
that
see the
makes
interview with
sense.
Will Smith about why he turned down The Matrix to do Wild Wild West? And he's like, well, imagine somebody pitching you the idea where you're like in this world, but you're not in this world. And he's like, it just didn't make sense to me.
And so we did Wild Wild West, which yeesh,
The
woof.
Wild Wild West.
I
Yep.
don't know. I always associate Wild Wild West with Burger King because they had Burger King toys for Wild Wild West at Burger King.
Burger King and Toys for Everything. Do you also
They did
associate them
back in
with
the
like The
day.
Lion King?
No,
And
for some reason it's like mainly Wild Wild West. When I think of that movie, I smell Burger King. It's
huh,
weird.
that is weird, but that happens.
Yeah. I also did read I forgot Predator versus Wolverine. I think that was this week. I think I picked it up before we recorded again. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I have watched a couple things though. I watched my first Hallmark movie of the year called Christmas Island.
Oh,
And
geez.
this one was a bit rough. And
Was
it's
it like a
basically
Caribbean island or like,
well, so the girl's a pilot and she's
why am
flying
I
this
asking
family on a
questions?
private jet to Europe out of New York. But there's a storm and they make her divert to Nova Scotia. Like you can't just fly around the storm and continue on to Europe. They're like, no, you got
We
to
might
go to
not have
Nova
enough
Scotia.
gas.
And then all of a sudden they're stranded at Nova Scotia in this big winter storm. And the air traffic control guy is controlling the air traffic control from Nova Scotia this whole time, even though she's flying out of New York. That wouldn't be the case, but whatever. And of course, you can pretty much guess what happens from there. It was interesting. It wasn't my favorite one. Of course, it was just kind of like meh. It kind of came and went, but I did watch it. The season has begun. We're gonna decorate for Christmas this weekend. The time, especially because Carrie goes away for 3 weeks, so we're gonna do it now before she leaves. But yes, Christmas is here. And then I watched a little known movie called The Marvels, and I finished up a little known TV series called Loki. That said, what do you have?
I think one time a Hallmark movie should have it where the couple doesn't end up together, just to like make everybody
Oh,
lose their
but
minds.
that's the
And
thing
then
is Hallmark's only popular because it's so stressful of a time is it's a stressful time of the year that people can predict what's going to happen, and so that's why they make them that way.
but just think then every other movie they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, is this going to be another one where they do this? Is this a thing now?" But literally just have it
I
be
fully
one
agree. That'd
time
be
ever.
crazy. That would be interesting.
Listen, there was a movie years ago with Brittany Murphy, like Little Black Book or something, and she didn't end up with like the love interest at the end, and people were like losing their minds. And but it was a good ending. It was like she was being independent and like putting herself first, and like people were
Yeah,
mad about it
I will
because she ended
say,
up alone.
the breakup did that with Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn, and
Oh
that pissed
yeah,
me off that they didn't get back together. So you're onto something.
I wanted them back together too.
I
My
did.
husband and I quote that movie all the time, which probably is
Me
not
too,
healthy.
surprisingly.
Well, it's always like I want you to want to do the dishes. Nobody wants to do the dishes or
It's
whenever like
true.
because I drink lemon water every morning. I think everybody knows that by now on this podcast. I'll be like, baby wanted 12 lemons, not two lemons. Baby wanted 12. But what I have been reading, so I do want to mention this one comic book called Going Green. It is live on
Yes.
Zoop, ZOOP. Very interesting premise. It's going to be like a Kickstarter kind of comic. I loved the idea because it's all about like green cemeteries, which my husband and I haven't even talked about that. I have a friend who was actually buried at a green cemetery. And it's the last thing you want to do when you die is put more harmful chemicals into the ground. And when you get embalmed, that's what you do. So in this comic, though, the people who are going to the green cemetery and being buried, and you become compost basically, they start to sprout again. And so they start to sprout as like plants that have some human characteristics. So these kids whose father passed away, they now have part of their father in like a pot and he's growing. So it's a very interesting premise. I thought it was really cool. If you want to check it out, again, it's called Going Green and it is up on Zoop, ZOOP. The comic I reviewed this week for Nerd Initiative was actually a comic that's sitting in my box at my comic book shop because I've been reading it every month. And I talked about issue 3 last week is The Cull, Cull.
Oh
That's by Kelly
yes.
Thompson. I actually picked it up because you told me to. I think you did the first review, or you must have done it on Turn a Page. I think you guys were talking about it.
I think so.
But
Yeah,
so I grabbed that one.
I did tell you to pick that. No, I did
And
because it's a very good comic book.
yeah, I really started to kick off in 3, and I thought 4 was even better. And it's only a 5 issue run, so I'm really curious how they're going to wrap it all up. But it's got a lot of mystery, and there's a lot of questions like I still want answered. But I thought was kind of cool is like these kids get like superpowers a little bit, and they're talking about like why each of them got this specific superpower. And they're like, well, it makes sense with our personalities. You know, I like this, so I got these powers. And this girl's like, well, what? I don't like lasers. Why did I get this laser power? And they like brought it back to basically her childhood trauma. So I thought it was really cool that they took childhood trauma and literally turned it into a superpower.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a hell of a way to break that chain. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so very excited for. I don't think actually issue 5 is coming out till January because it looked like it was like see you in 2024 kind of thing, which I think tends to have. Yeah, that happens with all comic books. Yeah. And then Invincible. I did finally watch Adam Eve, which, if you're not familiar with the comics, and even if you are, Adam Eve is only one episode and it's just Eve's origin story that's part of Invincible. And it's cute because at the very end, they're like, if you were wondering what Mark Grayson was doing this whole time, and then they show like a clip of Mark being this goofy little kid, which was cute. But Eve's backstory is very tragic. And so they go into that a little bit. I've said many times, this is my all time favorite comic book. I love Adam Eve. She's badass. She's a good person. She's gorgeous, of course. And she's just reasonable. There's none of that drama that you think is going to happen in these other stories and stuff. She always is just, I like that. They're a couple that is always reasonable. In the show, they're not together yet. I'm assuming they will be eventually. And I watched the first 2 issues of Invincible, which is hard for me to watch sometimes because the cartoon is exactly like the comic book. I start to forget which is which.
Oh,
So
that's weird. Yeah.
yeah, normally it's like, oh, well, in this because
They
it
take
was
liberties in
Hugh
some
Jackman
regards.
versus, yeah, a little bit. And I saw an interview with Robert Kirkman, and he was talking about how and why he's made some things different and what his intentions are moving forward. But it's great. It's still great. And you forget like so Brielle walked out and I like paused it, and the name of the episode for the last episode was "In 6 hours I lose my virginity to a fish," and she just repeats the title and looks at me. I'm like, yeah, it's not a kid show.
Yeah, yeah. I honestly, I'm like one of 3 people in the world that probably don't watch the show just because I never got into it and I couldn't get into the. I don't know. I've given the comic book a chance. I don't know why. It's weird. I don't know what it is.
You have to, if you're going to read the comic, you absolutely have to get through the first trade back before it
Yeah,
really kicks off. And then once it kicks off, it never slows down.
I'll try it again sometime. Who knows? We'll see. Let's move into some news. Lots of news, man. Lots of news, lots of news, lots of news. So first things first, James Gunn officially says that Superman Legacy will be coming out July 11th, 2025. They were going to be filming here soon. And then a movie that nobody has asked for ever, and nothing quite says Christmas like this December 20th, 2024 release, Mufasa. For some reason, we are releasing that movie.
Damn it. I was muted when you said Mufasa. Can you say Mufasa again?
Mufasa.
Ooh, do it again.
Mufasa, Mufasa, Mufasa. Yeah. Why? Why are we making this movie? Why?
Because it still makes money. Because people are like me are still gonna go see it. I won't wait. I will wait for Disney Plus for this.
Did you know that they're also making a Frozen 4, even though Frozen 3 hasn't come out yet, too?
Apparently, I did see that. I was a little confused.
I'm confused because, like, when is Frozen 3 supposed to come out? I was like, did I miss something? Of course not.
I was wondering the same thing. I don't know. Maybe Frozen 3 was
the friends we made along the way.
I don't know.
Interesting. Umbrella Academy Season 4 will be the final season. It is coming out in 2024. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's role on The Boys Season 4 has been revealed. He's going to be Joe Kessler. As it gets closer, of course, we're going to do a comic book background on him, and there's still no date yet. They have a few things to hammer out. They can go back to work and kind of do some of the voice work that they need to touch up on and anything of that nature, some CGI to still work on. I will say, though, apparently there might be something wrong with the deal. There's voiceover actors who are not happy with the deal because it doesn't protect AI in the voice realm. It protects AI with like the use of likeness. And so like there's a lot of back and forth. They might not have enough votes. We're not too sure yet. So stay tuned there. Inside Out 2, because we didn't have enough emotional trauma the first time around, will be coming out in June 2024. The trailer for that came out. Looks like a really good movie. I really enjoyed the first one. Very emotional. It's about, a girl who goes through emotions after moving. And, I can relate to that because I have a daughter and she's been going through some emotions too. So, one of those
One,
movies.
yeah, and this one, Brielle actually literally just showed me the teaser trailer because she's excited for it, and I guess they're installing a new board for because Riley's hitting puberty, and there's a new
Oh
emotion,
boy.
and the new emotion is anxiety. Good
We all
times.
have that. I do. What If Season 2 comes out December 22nd, 2023? They will
I'm
be
excited
releasing
for
one
this.
episode every day for 9 days. So, welcome to the 9 days of Christmas, folks. What If Season 2. It actually looks good. I wasn't totally sold on Season 1. Season 2 looks really cool. A lot more. Didn't see the zombie episode in the trailer, but there's some really cool things that looks like they're doing. And then DC's Penguin spinoff to the Batman is being fast tracked since the strike has allegedly ended. And Mosh Isley is going to be coming to MegaCon, $30 general admission. Now, I went to Mosh Isley down in Vegas for the When We Are Young festival last year. Worth going to. I'm going to convince Lauren, and we're all
I'm
going to
already
go out.
convinced.
We're going to go to Mosh Isley again, and
Yes.
we're going to do it.
Ian texted to me the other day, and I'm like, "Oh, I know. Are we going?" And he wants to get a hotel. I'm like,
Well,
I'd rather
shoot.
Uber.
Yeah, let's just Uber on over, and maybe I'll hit up Nick from Bayside and see if he wants to link up or something like that.
I'm all for it.
That one time I met him, man, I'm hanging on to that. He follows me, so I'll hit him up. But he'll be there. William Ryan Key from Yellow Card will be there. Adam from Story of the Year will be there, and then it's a really good time. Roosevelt's usually puts it on, and Roosevelt's does a really big meetup, and so there'll be a big Roosevelt's meetup that all that kind of stuff. So look out for MegaCon because we're both going to be there this year.
Juliette Lewis, they just announced she'll be there they put from Yellow Jackets, but to me, she will always be from Christmas Vacation.
Yes, same. And then my last piece of news, the Madam Web trailer came out, and for some reason,
I don't know why I laughed. That wasn't right.
Well, I mean, Sony just loves the fact that like all their movies are just perpetually in the year 2002 for some reason. I don't really.
They hanging on to Sam Raimi and his Spider-Man.
They're hanging on to something. It's kind of wild, man, because this movie doesn't look good. People were like, "Oh, what do you mean? It looks good."
I really wanted it to
doesn't
look good.
It doesn't. Like, am I going to watch it? Yeah. Am I going to go opening night? No. But
I hope
like,
it's better than Morbius.
I hope it's good. Yes, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, some of the fight scenes look good, but like even the jokes in the trailer was
it
not
looks like a CW
funny.
movie, and none of the actors and actresses actually look like they want to be in this movie. Like Dakota Johnson is phoning it in.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I want it to be good, but we'll see.
And like, not for nothing too, folks. Like, if this was a DC film, everybody be flaming it to the death on the internet. So like, spare me. All right, spare me. That's all I have to say about that. What news do you got?
So we got Blue Beetle is coming to Max November 17th. I actually haven't seen this yet, so I'm looking forward to that.
Already.
Well, it is by the time this comes out.
Weird.
Maybe it already is.
It's a good
no matter
movie.
what, Blue Beetle's on Max.
Yeah.
There you go. No, I definitely wanted to watch it. It was just with the strike and just summer, and nobody else in the house seemed interested in going. So I don't know, but I'm excited to finally watch that. So I thought this wasn't really a piece of news until maybe it goes somewhere, but I thought it was interesting. There is a Texas congressman who thinks the WB should be investigated for their tax break tactics that they've been utilizing.
Yes, they
such
should.
As canceling Batwoman, and then there was a possibility that they were going to cancel the Wile E. Coyote movie, which apparently they're not now.
Yeah.
And they said it's basically like burning down the building for the insurance money. And that makes sense. If
you're getting a Madam Web movie, but you canceled the Batgirl movie, spare me, Warner Brothers, David Zaslav, you piece of human garbage.
I wonder if any of that will ever meet the light of day.
Probably not. I don't think they're allowed to. I'm not really sure.
I mean, yeah, if they got the tax break, they can't benefit from that and then put it out.
Stupid.
But who knows? Oh, okay. So we're going to talk about this rumor for Pedro Pascal, who may or may not be playing Reed Richards.
The word is he is signed. However, they're just working out the details as far as can he do Gladiator 2 and The Last of Us 2 at the same time. Like, there's some fine.
Right. It's not like he can just do the voice work after the fact. So I did throw a poll up on Instagram. We got 22% said hell yes, 33% said meh, 11% said
Really?
he should play someone else, and 33% said, I want Krasinski. I side with the Krasinski. I love Pedro Pascal, and I would love to see him in the MCU. And I do think that if he is Reed Richards, I think we'll be fine. I trust him. I think he's great in every role he's in. He can play a good guy, a bad guy. He can, he does all his characters. I've never been disappointed with anything he's done, but I don't see him as Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. I definitely am on board with him being Reed Richards if that's the case. I couldn't quite see it at first either. It was kind of like, yeah, but I feel like they almost like Marvel's in this spot right now where they need to get a big time actor to pull people back in. Because let's face it, like there's definitely some things with Marvel that are it's not what it used to be. And I still don't know what it is about Marvel right now that is just kind of like, eh,
I think it's some growing pains. I think it's some digging deep into the spectrum of comics because they're doing comics that the average person never in a million years had heard of 10 years ago.
yeah,
And so I think venturing into all these unknown territories is a little different and then weaving them together. And I'll get more into this when we start talking Marvels and Loki. I feel like they're doing a good job bringing everything together. But it's also I think it's like when Hugh Jackman said he's not playing Wolverine again, like that made me sad. And I think seeing all these characters that made us all fall in love with the MCU not be in it anymore, it doesn't feel the same. It's like it's the next generation. And that was what DT in our Discord even mentioned. Like he's a little too old. And like when all of our beloved characters got cast outside of Robert Downey Jr., they were all like late 20s and now they're
yeah,
all
that's
in their
true.
40s. So and you're seeing this new generation that they're casting that was so young. You're having Miss Marvel and the new Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, and whether you have Scarlett Johansson, Scarlet Witch's twins come in, like all of them are very young. So I don't feel like any of them are truly, truly ready to completely take over. I think it's still going to be a little more time. But yeah, Pedro Pascal is a little bit older, but you can't really cast somebody too young for Mr. Fantastic.
No, it's yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna trust him because the casting director for Marvel is top tier. So obviously I'll give her a pass. But it
Yeah,
is
I was
interesting.
honestly, I questioned Chris Evans because I had only known him as a goofball.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, and then even Robert Downey Jr. was a big risk at first too. So we'll
Yeah.
see, I guess.
Well, he was a risk for different reasons. He was always a Tony Stark.
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
just concerned he was a little too Tony Stark.
true. That's true. Well, what else we got
All
with
right, so what
Marvel?
else do we have? Excuse me. New Marvel dates since the strike ended. Of course, none of these are in stone. Deadpool 3, July 26, 2024. It is crazy that that will be our only 2024 movie, but
We
if
might
there
get to
could be
watch this
only
together.
one, yes, yes, we might get to watch this one together. And if there could be only one,
Let
this would
it be.
100% be this one.
Yes,
I feel like I am going to lose my mind this whole movie.
agreed. I think we all will. I think it's gonna make $1 billion for sure.
Yeah. Captain America 4, February 14th, 2025. So get your Valentine's plans ready. Fantastic Four, May 2nd, 2025. Thunderbolts, July 25th, 2025. Blade, November 7th, 2025. So those are the dates we got so far. Taika Waititi says he will not be involved in Thor 5 if there is one. I'm okay with that one way or the other. I love what he did with Thor, but like
I
he wasn't
don't think
involved.
Tyke is a good director, so I'm fine with him not.
Well, he went like a little, I don't want to say too goofball-y, but definitely took the character in a different direction. And I'm okay with it coming back around a little bit.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I'm happy if he's involved again, and I'm okay if he's not. And we don't even know if we're going to get a Thor 5. We just know that Thor, his story is not done. Like, who knows? For anything, his story could be done in a Loki movie. Who the hell knows?
right. No, that's fair.
Uh, the Kang Dynasty director is apparently stepping away from the upcoming Avengers film, as we still do not know what the fate of Kang is. I think they should just recast Jonathan Majors. But again, I don't even know why they make these announcements about movies or anything else when they have no freaking idea. I feel like they just do it to get everybody hyped.
That's yeah, 100%. You got to get them hype and got to get them looking to something.
I get it from a marketing perspective, but it's also just silly. I mean, Inhumans was supposed to come out what 2018. I'm never gonna let that one go.
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
All right, so Christmas movies. Candy Cane Lane. Did you see the trailer for this one
I
with Eddie
did.
Murphy?
Of course, I'm gonna watch it.
So that comes out December 1st. It looks family friendly, and apparently he makes a deal with an elf, which I thought was kind of funny. It's a Wonderful Knife. Have you heard of this one?
I have. It's on Shudder, streaming now. I do want
Ah,
to watch it. I haven't yet.
so it's also in theaters. I saw it when I saw the Marvels. I saw the picture and or the poster, and I was like, what the hell is this? My
It looks
only
fun.
hesitancy, it's a horror comedy, but it has Justin
Of course it
Long.
does. Of course it does. Yeah, but you know what else? Goosebumps has Justin Long, and he kills it in that one. So
Mm,
will he be
I
killed
haven't
if
seen that
it's a
yet,
wonderful
but
knife, or will he kill it? Who knows?
when I made that conclusion that he does nothing but traumatize me in his horror
That's
movies.
true. I do want to see that one. There's a new movie called Thanksgiving that just came out this weekend. I
Oh,
think I'm
that the
gonna
one
go
with Patrick
see it.
Dempsey?
McDreamy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. We're gonna go see it tomorrow night, actually. So I'm pretty pumped for that. We'll report back next week.
Nice. Awesome. I'm excited to hear about that. I don't think I'll be making my
Yes.
way to the theater
Apparently, I've
yet.
heard it's good. So we'll see.
I have some beer news. It's not good. I know we talked earlier. The Vale Funkhouse Cafe is closing. The Vale has fantastic beer. They're not closing altogether, but they are closing this location. A lot of craft breweries are feeling it bad
Listen,
right now.
as a craft brewery in the year 2023 of our Lord and Savior, you can't have six locations anymore. Those days are gone. Like, you just can't do it because ingredients are expensive. And like for the Veil, they make really good beer. But if I'm paying $8 for a 5 ounce pour, come on, dude.
I
Like
feel
you
like
can't
that's everywhere now.
you can't justify that. Like $8 for a 16-ounce pour is what it should be. And so they're like, oh, a lot of people don't like funky beer anymore. And it's like, no, that's not the case. It's
Yeah,
just
I
you're
don't think that's the
charging
case at
me
all.
so much money. Like, and so
With
like,
everything else going up, like that's something like that's a cost you can cut.
yeah, like alcohol makes you fat for one. I would know. Number two, like there's so much good beer out there that I'm not going to pay $8 for a small pour. And then also you don't
Right.
need four locations. Like their Scott's Edition in Richmond, great location. And then they have a location in Richmond, perfect. That's all you should need. Now New Realm is doing really cool things. Their locations are spread out. They're doing really well. They're making spirit, like they have a food restaurant and things. And then I think honestly, like Precarious Brewing is doing it right here, right by me, in the sense of they have
Seem to do
one
a lot of
location.
events.
Yeah. Well, they have one location. It's big, it's open, there's an arcade, they have two eateries inside. That place is always absolutely slammed. And their
Nice.
beer is good. So they're an
Uh,
example of make good beer, host events, you got food. That's a trifecta. And then they're not overextending themselves by opening more than one location because then
or
you
over
gotta
distribution.
right, because then you gotta pay the rent, which rent is not cheap these days, and all these other things. So it's just like, dude, you just come on, breweries. I get it. You want to expand and everything like that, but you can't, like, more than two locations is just overkill, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we have two breweries here in Orlando right now, Deadwoods and Persimmon Hollow, that are both filing Chapter 11.
Oh,
I don't,
Deadwards. Really? Wow.
that's okay though. And 11 is not a liquidation. And 11 is a lot of times they do that to renegotiate their contracts because their
Mm,
contracts either are too high or they need to refinance or something like that. Or sometimes they're in a lease they can't get out of unless because you can reject leases in bankruptcies as well. So, and you can also surrender certain collateral and all this fun stuff. So hopefully both of those chapter 11s get approved because in chapter 11 your creditors are actually the ones that get to vote on your plan. So your creditors can say yay or nay, we're going to allow this to go forward.
gotcha.
Persimmon Hollow though actually just closed the location. And I didn't even know they had opened this. They had opened one right near Disney,
Oh,
and people were saying like the kids going to Disney College, I guess it was near there, can't like the beers were very expensive over there because the lease was very expensive over there. And they're like, this target market over there can't afford.
right.
They weren't targeting tourists, I guess they were targeting like, the kids who go to the Disney college or work at Disney. It's like they can't afford to be
This
paying.
expensive ass beer, man.
And I like Persimmon Hollow's beer. I really do, but it's not they're not tripping animals. They're not Calusa. They're not the
No,
Veil.
no, by any means at all. No.
If you see them, though, grab them. They distribute at Disney and stuff. I really do like Persimmon Hollow. They have a great location on Lake Eola. Like if you don't just want to do theme parks, head to downtown Orlando, walk around Lake Eola. We got three, four breweries downtown now. We have three: Big Storm, Motorworks, and Persimmon Hollow. And you can walk to all three of those breweries downtown
Oh,
Orlando. And they
nice.
have a really cool new geek bar, which I don't know that if I posted it yet, but if I didn't, I will
You
post it.
did. No, I remember you posting a geek
Okay,
bar.
the
You
one
went a
with the
couple weekends ago,
Barbie.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You did. You did.
So, and they had decent beer as well.
Good. Well, make good beer, guys. You don't have to do it. I'll get off this high horse. Let's go into something
I will
good.
also because neither of us own a brewery, neither of us
No, we
professionally brew
don't.
beer, neither of
Yeah.
us are entrepreneurs. But here's our advice: we are both marketing majors, though.
Yes, we are. See? So we do know something that we're talking
There
about.
you go. Yeah, we went to school for it. We just didn't use it
Yet.
in real life.
Yet. Me.
Yeah.
Yet. We are
Well, I got
no,
my
we are
marketing
doing it.
degree almost 20 years ago.
We
So
are doing
mine's,
something with this degree. We're marketing the shit out of this podcast.
yeah, social media didn't exist when I got my marketing degree.
Yeah. Anyways, let's take a break, folks. We'll be right back in just a second where we're going to talk The Marvels and Loki season 2. We
Finally.
will see you in a sec. Welcome back. Now, The Marvels just recently came out last week. It's the third movie in Phase 5, I believe, if I'm correct.
Oh,
Because
I
we have
forgot we were in
Guardians.
phase 5.
That's
With
that almost,
Quantumania
yeah.
and
Quantumanium,
Guardians.
Guardians, and now The Marvels. And it's the first movie with Iman Vellani playing Kamala Khan. Monica Rambeau is in it as
Adorable.
Photon. And then, of course, Carol Danvers, played by Brie Larson. She is back. And then we also have Samuel L. Jackson is back as Nick Fury. We have Zawai Ashton as Dar Ben. And yes, this movie not doing so hot in the box office, apparently. And it's been hotly debated. It's one of the lower. Well, there's a big whole shitstorm going out right now, right?
I feel like it's doing well for a movie. It's not doing well for a Marvel movie.
Yeah, for a Marvel movie, it's not, which is kind of sad because I personally like this movie a lot more than
I
the
thought it
first
was
one.
fantastic.
I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it,
I
and
liked it more than Quantumania.
I honestly I'll give you that too. So the plot synopsis essentially for this one is Carol Danvers gets her powers entangled with those of Kamala Khan and Monica Rambeau, forcing them to work together to save the universe. It's got a 6 out of 10 on IMDb. It was sitting at like a 56%, 63% or something like that on Rotten Tomatoes. And again, this is
But I think some people are rating it that haven't seen it. Oh, so I should tell you, I posted a TikTok earlier today and it was just like the dude and he was like, that's just like your opinion, man. And I put when you hear people bashing the Marvels and I put that we both loved it. And some guy commented, imagine saying you liked the Marvels in or on public or whatever, like how embarrassing. And I just responded, I loved it. And then he kept talking about like comparing liking it to eating shit, literal
you
shit.
must be so embarrassed right now.
Well, I always, anytime there's a troll, I respond nice. And sometimes it comes back that they weren't trying to be a troll. Well, that was intentionally being a troll. And, sometimes I just respond back nice and they'll then respond back nice. So I started and I was about to ask him, what about it exactly did you not like? Just plainly just curious. Everybody doesn't have to like everything. Not just because if you didn't like the Marvels, that's okay. If you didn't like that end credit scene, there's something wrong with you. But if you didn't like the Marvels, that's
This
okay.
person said,
Oh, you pulled it
okay,
up.
all
Yeah.
right, all right. Here's a comment. Mr.
I just left it
Sean
at the end.
Linhart.
Oh, you're calling him
Imagine
out.
publicly admitting you like this. Haha, embarrassing. Lauren says, I actually loved it. He says, hey, some people eat their own poop too. You do you. Lauren responds, well, that's the grossest way I've ever heard someone say to each their own. He says, I agree. Having the desire to watch the cinematic equivalent of a turd is disgusting. Lauren says, have you seen it? This is where the fun begins, folks, because Mr. Sean Linhart says, I don't pay to watch cinematic poop. Maybe if they paid me, I might. But even then, and sir.
Oh no, are you responding? I was just gonna leave it at that. I almost wanted to just write okie dokie and leave it at
Like,
that.
have fun. No, I'm just saying, like, okay, imagine being that person that you haven't even watched it to just make an opinion, and that's like, what a
Well, I
sad
almost thought about
existence.
imagine making an opinion on a movie you haven't seen, but that's what they want. They want you to respond negatively. And the fact of the matter is nobody's gonna like everything. But I thought this movie was fantastic. But yeah, let's get
Let's
into
dive into it. Spoilers on 3, 2, 1, blast off. Spoiler thoughts was I really enjoyed this movie. Things that I loved. Well, of course, Iman Vellani stole the show as Kamala Khan. No, that's
she did
no brainer.
fantastic. Yeah.
And not even that, but you know, oh gosh, I suck at names, folks. I'm so sorry. Toyana Paris, who plays Monica Rambeau, her, Iman, and Brie had really great chemistry together. I thought the three
They
of them like
did.
just flowed and had amazing chemistry. And Monica was a standout, like her humor and her just kind of like, you know, initial standoffishness, because you always forget that Carol's her aunt too, which was kind
Right.
of weird. And I thought they did a
Well, yeah,
really
because
good
they look the
job.
same age.
Yeah,
But
well, of course.
but there were times where you could still see that Carol was the parent in the situation, and both of these people were children to her. Even and Monica even had to remind her, "I'm not a child anymore. I'm an adult."
Yeah,
But there's still, no matter how old or young you are, there's still a dynamic with that
oh,
generation before, or yeah.
for sure. I will say that like the one thing that they did a really good job of is where they kind of brought you up to speed if you haven't watched the first one. They were like, "Hey, this is what happened in the first one. Cool, move on." And then I thought that they really did a good job bringing some emotional moments in this movie as well. You know, with Maria Rambo, and then the reason why Carol hadn't been back to Earth was the whole reason because she inadvertently like destroyed the AI, or she destroyed the AI over on uh Hala, and then it pretty much destroyed their planet from there. And she didn't destroy their son, but she just destroyed the AI, which caused them to go into civil war. They just
Yeah,
blamed
they
their
didn't
son
explain
dying.
that. Their natural resources were
Well,
depleted
yeah,
for
their
some
natural
reason. Yeah.
resources depleted, and they blame that on Carol, which was not her fault. But the Civil War part, yeah, she just like
I
destroyed
think it
the
might have
AI
been
and leaves.
indirectly her fault.
Right. And then
Yeah.
the fight sequences, I thought the way that they intertwined their powers and the fight sequences,
That was really cool.
really great.
And I like the
Samuel
training
Jackson,
montage of like the
yeah,
jump rope, and because that was what they needed to be in sync. And so those were
yes,
unique ways to get them in sync. And yeah.
agreed. So go into what you've liked about the movie.
So one of the things somebody was complaining about was that the bad guy wasn't a super bad. And obviously you get the Ronin vibes. She's got the hammer and everything. But I didn't feel like this movie was about the bad guy. I felt like this movie, like a lot of Phase 4 was, and a lot of stuff has been since Endgame, is this was redemption for Carol. It wasn't, yeah, the other two it wasn't redemption for. They had nothing to redeem. But I felt like Carol had a lot of redeeming to do. Why was she gone for so long? Why did she quote unquote abandon Monica? Why did she abandon Maria? So I thought that that was great. I loved seeing that, and I loved that Nick Fury was back.
Yeah,
I felt like the Nick Fury in Secret Invasion was not Nick Fury, and they even called him out for not being Nick Fury in it. And I didn't love Secret Invasion, so I was very happy to
nobody did.
have. I really wanted to love it, especially because I love Sonya Fallsworth so much. I know we've talked about that many times on
But
here.
did
She
this
was
take
just
place after or
fantastic.
before Secret Invasion?
I believe it had to have taken after, because this was not a washed up, tired, you're going to get something past me, Nick Fury.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm very curious because one thing I will say is they very much, again, like the scrolls were an afterthought. The entire Secret Invasion plot line was an afterthought. So it's
I do
like
feel like Talos he deserved at least one line in this.
a
Like Carol
mention.
should have asked
Yeah,
about Talos or something. Like did have an issue with that.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I loved all the jump points. So obviously we've seen those in Guardians of the Galaxy, but that is very relevant in the Cosmic Rewind ride.
Oh,
So I'm
cool.
so used to jump points now.
Yeah.
And I believe that's going to be part of one of the rides coming up at Disney California Adventure as well, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, so they coordinate the jump points, and I can't wait for you to go on that ride. It's so good. It's in our Uber ride home from Bush the other night, the guy that drove us, like on his license plate, he had a Disney license plate, and it was like an acronym for Universal. So we were just talking about theme park rides the whole time, and we got into a debate on what are the best rides. And yeah, it's Cosmic Rewind and then Velocicoaster. So I absolutely love that. People complaining about Captain Marvel being more powerful than they let on. Yeah, she is an incredibly powerful character, and yes, she could have ended Thanos earlier had she come in earlier, but she couldn't utilize her powers at the maximum capacity here because she was switching every time she used her powers. She ended up in Namon's living room, or
Yeah,
imagine
they
just
did a
like,
great job explaining what was going on. Like,
yes. And I don't know if I know you didn't notice, I had to point this out. Monica had on the Nine Inch Nails shirt from the
she
first
did.
movie
Yeah.
that I wore on our
I was
Monica
too busy
Rambo.
being like, oh, shoot, we got Beast. Oh, dang, we got.
Yeah, that was amazing. But what I really loved with this was I was complaining or commenting last time that I feel like the MCU has just gone in too many different directions. But I really feel like Loki and the Marvels started to bring it all back. So in the Marvels, they brought in WandaVision, they brought in Miss Marvel, they brought in Guardians of the Galaxy with the whole Ronin and Kree peace treaty, because we see that in the first Guardians movie that they're violating the Kree peace treaty.
Right.
Um, And so you see a lot of that all coming together. And obviously, we see Hawkeye gets pulled in too because you see Kate Bishop.
Yes,
And
yes, we got the Young Avengers are getting started. That's pretty freaking sick.
yes, and then the end credit scene with Beast. Obviously, I feel like that's from Doctor Strange because we also saw. I believe that would be was that the Maria Rambeau we met in Doctor Strange?
Uh, I think so because well, I don't know because they never she didn't actually die, did she? We never see that she died. I don't know.
Oh, that's true.
I'm
Oh
not
yeah, she.
sure. Good
Yeah, I don't know.
question. I mean,
But the
maybe.
bands too were one of the bands was found in the Temple of the Ten Rings, so that's another.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, those are all my notes that I wrote down.
Yeah,
And they did quite a lot of nods to Monica's comic origin too, like with the sash that she took off and everything. Like
mhm.
I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, they did a great job. They did a great job with like the costumes. I thought were really great. I really enjoyed the costumes, and I really like that. What I didn't like, also real quick before we get into what I didn't like, shout out to Zawai Ashton and Tom Hiddleston, who both they are I believe engaged. Are they married?
I don't know. I think they just had a kid together.
Well, they either way, they are the first couple to have their MCU project released on the same day. So that's pretty freaking sick.
Yeah, hell of a weekend for a hell of a power couple.
Yeah, like heck of a weekend. Like good for them, man. Good for them. And that's pretty badass. So what I didn't like though was I did not like Darben. I thought Darben was very forgettable. And I get it. The movie wasn't really about the villain, but at the same time, like you have to have a reason. And I felt she just spent the entire movie looking confused at everybody and everyone all around. And then it just kind of fizzled out lacklusterly. Like her motivations made sense. She was trying to make Hala great again, if you will.
Every time
And
you say that, when you be like, holla,
Hala Hala
I don't
Hala Hala.
know.
Yeah, and so I get that part, right? I do. But she was just very, very bad, awful villain. Like Marvel's one-off villains continues. That's not a good trend.
Well, she's
And
also super duper minor in the comics.
well,
Like I
yeah,
was watching Screen Crush and Ryan Airy like, I didn't even know who she was. I had to go back and look her up, and I know everybody.
right. She's just, whatever. And so I'll give them a pass still because I thought this movie overall was just a lot of fun. And then, of course, the whole secret invasion thing and the scrolls were kind of like, hey, we blew up the scrolls planet again. Like, my God.
I
It's
know, poor
just like,
scrolls.
okay, they're all going to get back on like the ship and we're
I
going
did
to.
like the Valkyrie call out.
Valkyrie was cool. I was glad we got to see Valkyrie. It was really cool that
Her
she
and Carol got
was.
some chemistry going
They
there.
do. They
They had a
do.
moment. I
I
very
just want
much
to point
so like
out
that.
my girl Monica was looking real thick in that outfit. Like I was like, dang girl, what's up? And yes, like that was my big complaint though, the villain, of course. And but the post credit scenes were awesome because now we got Kate Bishop showing up back up. We got Pizza Dog and
I keep forgetting that was even an end credit scene because I just lost my mind for the
well,
next
yeah,
one.
right there. I was like,
But
oh
yeah,
yes.
as
Give
soon as
like
I saw the dog, yeah.
I think one of Marvel's issues is they've introduced so many characters that we just haven't seen, like Shang-Chi
Interact.
2. Like, give me the Shang-Chi 2 because Shang-Chi was like the best movie of Phase 4, and he's just sitting on ice right now. And that came out like 2019, the end of 2019.
He's just Ken. No, it
That
was
was,
after COVID because we
was
did an episode on it. Positive. We didn't know
okay.
each other back in
Well,
2019.
you're right. You're right. It was during the COVID time, so it must have been 21.
It was right after Black Widow.
Yeah, so it must have been 2020. Then it must have been 20.
Were
Either
we going to
way,
the movie theaters then? Or was it 2021? No, there was nothing in 2020.
that's right. It was
I'm going to
2021.
Google
We
it.
got this. All right, it was
I
2021,
think it
but
was September 2021.
it was in the fall. That I do know, and it was
Yeah,
2021. So, regardless, though, is like I want, like we bring all these characters together. So now we're gonna get
it's 2021. Yeah.
a Young Avengers potentially. So it's good to see Kate Bishop with Miss Marvel, and I really like the family dynamic too. Like Miss Marvel's family in this is really cool and funny, and like the cats
Yeah.
were great. Like the Flurkins with Goose laying babies
That was a
everywhere.
little silly, but yeah, it
Let me
was
eat
cute.
you. Like it was okay. That was a little silly,
Well,
but
that they're all still running and it's like, do not run. Let
let
them
them
eat
eat
you.
you.
You are
Yeah.
safe. I'm sorry, I would still run.
Yeah, and that was fun. And one of like again, the fight sequence I can't talk about enough. That first big fight sequence where they're all transporting their powers was way better than any other fight sequence in the movie. And then I really like the musical scene too, by the way. The whole musical scene where Carol burst out in a song with That was great. But
And
man, then we got
he's bilingual. He doesn't
yes.
have to
Wait,
sing.
he can understand you? He's bilingual.
They didn't necessarily talk about what happened with that planet though. Like they were taking the water, but like the
They
planet
took
was
the
a huge.
water.
Did they take
Yeah.
all the water? Like is everyone on
They
that
left
planet
that there.
now?
Like nobody knows. They just kind of like took the water and left.
Is that going to be like the third Captain Marvel movie, her second redemption?
Now she's got to go fight these people again. Like,
Yeah, I thought that was a little odd that that wasn't
yeah, no,
discussed.
I definitely agree there. That was interesting. But I will say overall, though, really good movie. I would probably give it about a 7.5 out of 10,
I think
personally.
that's fair. I would be right about there too. Yeah.
It's not their best, you
No,
know,
but
but
it's
I really had fun. It was fun.
yeah, it
That's the
was
only way I
fun.
can describe it. Is like I just had a lot of fun.
It was fun and it brought a lot of people in and together and connected
Yeah.
things.
And now we're kind
And
of
I
back
liked
at
Brie
it.
Larson in this more than I liked her in Captain Marvel. But I
Yeah.
understand why she was who she was in Captain Marvel because she was constantly told to repress her emotions. She was constantly like gaslit that she's not allowed
Yeah. No,
to react on
I agree with
emotions.
that for
But
sure.
that was
And
just because if she reacted on emotions and she's stronger than what's his face, then she would have just killed him.
very true.
What was his name? I forgot his
Oh,
name.
Jesus. I don't remember names. Come
Jude
on. Jude Law.
somebody.
That's all
Jude
I know.
Law. Yeah, I don't
But
remember his name in the
good
movie.
movie. And
Although the soundtrack in the first one was better.
soundtrack, well, of course, it took place in the 90s, man. Of course it was better. This one
When
wasn't
they
about the
started
soundtrack.
playing garbage in the first Captain Marvel, I lost my mind. And they had Agent Coulson.
True.
Love me some Coulson. Where the fuck is Coulson?
True. All right. Well, let's go into Loki season 2, which just wrapped up. Spoiler alert, of course. Now, Loki, of course, is now the most important member of the MCU, as we see. Loki sees all, Loki the storyteller, and we leave this series with Loki basically like the temporal loom was exploding. And one of the coolest things I thought was they go back to He Who Remains, and basically He Who Remains is like, I gave you these powers because I thought you were going to kill Sylvie. And then it turns out that Loki like couldn't kill Sylvie, and so he ultimately like grabs all the branches of the timelines. Now Loki finally gets his throne, and he is holding the timelines together. And now, if Marvel does want to have an out and not do Kang anymore, they have their out. You know, they could either, now that the multiversal wars with Kang is on, cool, because we've referenced them, or hey, because He Who Remains was essentially like, if the timeline blows up, the Kangs are loose, you're gonna, the war starts, you're gonna die. But the timeline didn't blow up, so they could go either way with this essentially.
Yeah. I like the throwaway line to 616 adjacent. Did you see what
Yes.
Iman Vellani like posted?
Yeah, about Kevin Feige.
She is adorable. Oh my goodness. So she called out wait a while ago that this is not 616, that
Yes.
this is the universe that they called it like what zero
Because
one
the comics are
whatever.
616.
Right. The main universe for the comics is 616. Yeah. But I guess would the sacred timeline be 616? And is the sacred timeline the MCU timeline? We need a Mon to come
I
on this
don't
show and
know,
explain it to us.
man.
So she's always said this is not, we are not, MCU is not 616. And then they called in Spider Verse, they referred to this main universe as something else. And she's saying she's not going to argue with Feige until she gets the second season of Miss Marvel.
Yeah, which I respect.
Yeah, 100%.
Respect.
And this is the only thing she's ever done. I was watching an interview with her. She was
That's
on some
right.
podcast talking about it. Can I just say that one of the best things that's been about this strike ending is seeing all of the stuff come out now from Rosario Dawson and, you know, from Brie Larson and from everybody
We
about
were
all
definitely
these.
robbed of a good press tour with these three. I will say that
Yeah.
much. That sucks.
But even like Ashley Eckstein was apparently on set for Ahsoka.
Yes, I did see that.
So
Which
I didn't even know any of that.
we'll have to go into the Ahsoka and the Gen V and all that the next episode, perhaps, to kind of play catch up. But yeah,
Maybe we should
it's
just wait and do Gen V before the boys comes out.
yeah, we'll do that before. That makes sense because I haven't even watched Gen V yet, all of it. So continue though. What did you like about Loki? What are your thoughts on Loki?
So I thought it started off pretty slow. I actually fell asleep during one of the earlier ones. And then as soon as it got
Oh,
to episode 5 and 6, like really took off. But I mean, I'm fine with things being slow as long as it pays off. Like I don't need to be like 100% on edge and super entertained the entire time of everything to appreciate a story. So I felt like it was slow. It was cool that the scene we saw at the end of Quantum Mania was a scene pulled directly out of Loki. So it was neat to see that, oh, okay, that's where we are now. So I
Agreed.
thought that was cool. I didn't love Victor Timely. I thought he was, but I don't think I was supposed to.
I don't really know how to feel about Victor Timely either. Yeah, that he was just kind of like it was one of the most savage parts of that show was He Who Remains making fun of Victor Timely's stutter. I was like, God dang, that's
Yeah.
brutal. Like that was
But I
hilarious.
also thought that maybe the stutter was intentional
I think well it was.
to create a sort of like innocence kind of thing. To like, don't be afraid of me. I have a stutter. Clearly, I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah, maybe, I guess. But
So I don't know. But
it's
eh, there's a lot to be interpreted. A lot they could have opened a lot of doors and they could have closed a lot of doors with it. So I'm loving all the fan theories. I'm hearing about all of it. And with the branch thing, it looks like the tree that Thor explained the
yes, yes.
so I actually have I was at Epcot yesterday and I was like, I want to go in the Norse mythology building because I know they talk about that tree and there's a picture of that tree. And it's I want to say Yardasil, but I think that's a certain medication. It's YGGDRASIL. Some medication where you can like picture people like sitting in bathtubs and outside, and maybe is it a boner medication?
Oh, weird.
No.
All right.
I don't know. Maybe it's birth control. I
All
have no
right.
idea. So that's not what this is. So this is actually the world tree. And so this is what the branches looked like once Loki was done with them. So the Vikings believed that the universe consisted of 9 worlds that formed from the primal elements of water, and fire and were connected by the limbs of a magnificent ash tree called Yardasil. How do I keep saying
Because you're
Yardasil?
thinking like Lamisil, which is like
I think
fungus
they have
meditation.
Gardasil. Gardasil.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know what Gardasil is for. Okay.
I don't know.
Uh okay. He says it's said in the first Thor movie when Thor is explaining it to Jane. So the gods lived in the highest branches of the tree in the world of Asgard. The middle branches supported the human world and the world of the giants, while the lowest branches were the home of the dwarfs and the dead. A rainbow bridge called Bifrost connected the world of the gods to the world of man. Gardasil helped the Vikings understand the structure of their own world, which consisted of long, dark winters, starry night skies, and natural phenomena like the Northern Lights. So that's the actual North mythology of the World Tree, which the comics, pulled from. And that's what it looked like at the end. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it did very much. And I like the greens and I like the horns that Loki had that came out. I loved OB by the way in this. You know,
Oh,
he
did
was
you know?
great. I
Oh,
didn't
he was
like
absolutely fantastic. Did you see his name, what it actually means?
no what?
So they talk about it in there. So Ouroboros, which was his name before they called him OB, it actually is the name for the circular symbol depicting the snake eating itself. And he actually makes that comment about it when they're talking about like
Oh, that's cool.
which came first, Victor Timely's book or OB's book, and like because both their books were based on each other. So that's Ouroboros.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
He was definitely like my favorite character to add in. I
he's
also
so
really
precious.
loved, of course, Mobius, Owen Wilson. I would love to get more Mobius somehow, like some way if we go towards the Secret Wars, like bring back Mobius in a way. I feel
Some
like
people think he's
Sylvie.
an Odin variant.
Ooh,
And
that
his
would be
sons
weird.
were Thor and Loki because they're wearing red and green. I think some people go a little too
I feel like
far.
that's a stretch. That's
It
a
is a
stretch.
stretch, but it's fun. And they say like that's why Mobius and Loki were drawn to each other.
Ooh, that would be wild. But I don't think that's the truth.
I
But
don't
you know,
either,
what do
but
I
it's
know,
fun to
right?
think
What do
about.
I
Yeah.
know? I will say too that Sylvie was really underused. Like she didn't do anything this season, in my opinion.
She really didn't, considering how big of a character she was in the last
She just
season.
kind of
Yeah.
showed up, kept trying to kill everybody. That was it. And yeah, she just didn't really.
I hope
She
she's not
served her
done.
purpose, but she didn't do a whole lot. So I hope we get more Sylvie as well.
Hmm.
Somehow, maybe with the Avengers to tell Thor if we see him again to be like, hey, your brother did this. Like
Right.
that would be cool as heck. Like, give me that. That would be dope. And
Yeah.
overall, like in a way, I don't know. I guess in a way, this all 6 episodes kind of felt the same to me because they, like, I know they weren't, but in a way, they all felt kind of the same, and I really feel like we didn't get any. We got somewhere, but we didn't get anywhere.
I
I don't
love
know
that
if
the
that
one
makes sense.
guy was escaping from Alcatraz
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's
That
like
was
such
great.
like a, you know, dorky like
It's
tech
like, come
guy
on, like
or
who are you? Come on. No, what? Who are yeah,
yeah.
that was great.
And
There's a
he's
lot
like
of
trying
great
to rob
things.
places and he's escaping Alcatraz.
I do like that. And Renslayer's now in the void, so I wonder if she's gonna play
Yeah.
a bigger
And does her
role at some point.
timeline loop? Like, is she? I
Yeah,
don't
like
know.
what's up with her? Because she
I
served
feel like the
again. She was just kind
possibilities
of like
are
there,
like
but
the
wasn't there. I
timelines.
feel like there's some potential there with her, but it was kind of just
I
to
don't
serve
trust
like
her for
yeah.
shit.
I don't know. I don't really
Yeah.
know how to describe what I'm trying to
Well,
say, but
and both the Marvels and Loki, I feel like, are leading to Secret Wars.
oh, without a doubt. Now that we have Loki, who's kind of holding the multiverse together, and now
Monica,
Monica's in
who's
this
going to want to
Fox universe, and I
cross the
wonder
multiverse. Yeah.
wonder if she makes an appearance in Deadpool, maybe since that's the Fox universe. Like, is that
God.
how Monica gets back, or is America Chavez going to make an appearance at some point, and that's how Monica
Oh,
gets back?
yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
we need to see her
I
again.
like forgot about her. That's
Exactly. If
right.
if we're building
She
this Young
can punch through
Avengers, is
multiverses.
she gonna like, hey, Kamala finds her because she's got her cool iPad now that she found on her couch, and is she gonna find America Chavez and be
Ah.
like, hey, I heard you can do this. My friends are here. Help us.
Well, and if we're gonna get Wiccan and what's Wiccan's twin's name? Like we don't
Yes.
have them on quote unquote 616. Technically they're
Yeah.
dead.
How do they get involved? Yeah.
Right. And then you have also Hulk's son. Hulk, is
Scar.
that
Yeah.
Hulkling? No.
Yeah.
That's a
No, it's
different person or
Scar.
that's the
I
same
thought it was
one?
Scar. Maybe it is. I thought it was
Is
Scar.
Scar Hulkling? We're gonna have to do a deep dive on
SKAAR.
Wiccan and Hulkling.
We'll have to
Wiccan and
do it.
Hulkling actually just showed up in the Guardians of the Galaxy run with
Jackson.
Jackson and Colin.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, they're getting 11th to they're supposed to be a 10 issue run. Now they're getting an 11th to tie it and make it their finale, which is cool. They're supposed to be coming back on the show here soon too. So
I'm liking that run. It's fun
it's
because it's
fun.
the Guardians, I know, but it's a totally different story at the same
Yeah.
time.
And their Outsiders run just started and then they're about to do Thunderbolts. So they have a lot that's happening. So check all them out. But
Oh, they have a Winter Soldier one, or maybe I just haven't read it, finished it yet. They have another one with Captain America or something.
yeah,
I
I think
have it on my stack
yeah,
of
they did
not
a
read
Captain
yet.
America. They finished their Captain America run not long ago.
Okay. Cold War.
Yep.
Okay. I
It
need
got
to still read
finished.
that. Okay.
All in all though, I would give Loki probably a 9 out of 10 as far as shows go. It's really
Probably go
good.
8.5 just because it was slow and then it was really good.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Again, like my only complaint is it feels like we got nowhere, but we got somewhere. Like we didn't have to take this long route to get there. And
Well, and season one almost seems pointless,
yeah, and it's
but it
they even
wasn't.
said that now it's only a 2 season. Like that's they feel like is very
And that's
just a two.
fine. You told the story. Yeah, that's fine.
And
That's
I'm
what's
fine with it
nice
too.
about, I feel like the Disney Plus shows. It's like, if you need multiple seasons, take them. If you don't. Like WandaVision doesn't need a second season. The story was told.
WandaVision doesn't, and Loki
Moon
doesn't
Knight
need a
does.
third. Moon Knight needs another season. I would like to another Werewolf by Night. I would like
Werewolf. Fuck
Marvels.
yes. Captain or Falcon and Winter Soldier or
Probably
does
doesn't
not
because he's getting a movie. Yeah,
exactly.
that they
Yeah.
don't. But I would like maybe do a TVA show. That would be something that I would watch. I don't know. It's kind of like in the vein of like The Shield. I don't know. We'll see.
I want a comedy sitcom of Peggy and Steve in the
They're
late
dead. You're
40s,
never getting
early
it.
50s. But it doesn't have to be. Well, I mean, she's still, going to work and she's still building Shield. But
Oh,
she's like, who
Steve.
is this snarky Steve who all of a sudden says shit and all of a sudden, like, will make comments about the future? And it's just good old fun.
Yeah. I don't
And they
know.
share a bed, and that's controversial.
Whatever. Anyways, let us know what you guys thought about these two movies. Or shows in a movie, right? Marvel back in a big bad
These two
way.
Marvel properties.
I enjoyed
Yes.
them both. I thought it
Like
was
we got
great.
two in one fucking day and nothing
And
till July.
now, yeah,
No, we get what
no,
if.
we have What
We have
If,
what
and then
if.
we're in a cool off period, which I think is good for Marvel. I think they need a cool off period. I think they need to like build the hype back up. And this is the first time that they only have one Marvel property, movie coming out in 1 year since the Avengers did in 2012. I think it's going to be good for the
But
franchise.
it's the first Wolvie since
It's
2017.
true. It's true. Let us know. We'll be back next week. We are coming up on episode 200. Let us know what you want to see there. And then we have our Christmas special in the works. Let us know some of your geek themed Christmas traditions, what you love to do during Christmas, all that good stuff. Lauren's cooking up some really great things. She's the genius, like I always say. Make sure to follow along with us. Hops Geek News, subscribe everywhere that you listen to podcasts, everywhere that is on social media. Come hang out with us on Discord. And we will see you guys next week. Cheers.